A raw AI model, the multi-billion-dollar neural network everyone argues about online, is basically just a disembodied brain sitting in a glass jar on a desk. It has no hands, no environment, and absolutely zero real-world awareness. OpenAI's GDP benchmark measures AI against actual knowledge work. In a lab, that isolated brain beats or ties human professionals 70% of the time, and it completes tasks 100 times faster for a fraction of a penny. But watch what happens when you take that exact same genius-level intelligence and drop it into the messy reality of a real business. Imagine dumping a shoebox full of disorganized receipts, ambiguous emails, and conflicting instructions right on top of that jar. The Remote Labor Index tested these exact same frontier AI agents on 240 real freelance jobs. The success rate collapses. When asked to do a complete job instead of an isolated task, the AI fails 97.5% of the time. The discrepancy exists because a task is an isolated puzzle with clear rules. A job requires mechanical execution to carry out the steps and human common sense to navigate ambiguity. A brain in a jar has neither. To get actual work done, you have to take the brain out of the jar and plug it into a harness. A harness is the specific software environment, like a desktop app or a coding sandbox, that acts as the AI's mechanical body. You have to match the right intelligence to the right body. Think of Claude, specifically the Opus 4.6 model, as your liberal arts brain. It excels at complex product management decisions, deep strategic reasoning, and generating high-quality written documents. To get those results, Claude requires a collaborative harness. It needs to sit inside your actual desktop environment, see your files, ask you clarifying questions, and work directly alongside you like a partner. ChatGPT 5.4 is entirely different. It functions as a pipeline brain. It dominates at building complex quantitative models, generating structured spreadsheets, and executing autonomous multi-step agentic workflows, processes where the AI independently uses tools to reach a goal. But if you ask it to write a nuanced strategy memo, the prose is noticeably weak. It treats tasks as rigid pipelines to execute, meaning it will blindly process instructions without ever stopping to ask you why the work needs to be done. ChatGPT thrives in a strict mathematical harness. You point it at a data pipeline and let it rip through step-by-step logic at machine speed without requiring pauses for human collaboration. When you force the pipeline brain to write marketing copy or ask the collaborative brain to blindly run isolated data scripts, you get terrible writing and broken product strategies. You've put the wrong intelligence in the wrong mechanical body. Then there is Codex, or GPT 5.3. This is the antisocial coder. It is hyper-specialized for producing highly reliable, bug-free software architecture. Codex operates best in the clean room harness. It works inside an isolated cloud sandbox, disconnected from the internet and human interaction. It thinks privately, builds the application, and essentially slides the finished code under the door. Perplexity Computer takes another approach entirely. It acts like a middle manager. Instead of relying on one giant brain, it's an orchestrator that breaks a prompt into subtasks and delegates them to multiple smaller AI models running simultaneously. That structure is highly effective for compiling detailed consulting research reports or generating automated outbound sales emails. But if you assign that middle manager system to build and maintain a long-term software repository, the project will collapse. Treating all AI as a generic one-size-fits-all text box guarantees that 97.5% failure rate. Surviving real-world work requires explicitly matching the specific brain to the exact mechanical body required for the job. Even with the perfect brain inside the perfect harness, autonomous agents eventually hit the memory wall. This is the barrier where a long-running project breaks down because the AI lacks the institutional memory of an actual employee. Hand an AI agent a vendor contract to review. The model will competently parse the clauses, flag standard risks, and compare the terms against your corporate templates, but it will miss the historical context that isn't written down. The AI cannot know that your company has a flexible understanding regarding payment schedules with this specific vendor, based on a handshake agreement your general counsel made over dinner 3 years ago. Evals are programmatic rules that check the AI's output before it ships. You filter unwritten context and human taste through these rules to build a safe boundary box. When an agent violates company boundaries, the eval catches it and corrects the path. Organizations that take the time to encode their institutional taste into automated evaluations enable a 10-person team to execute the workload of 1,000 employees. Organizations that skip this step are just leaving a naked brain on a desk, expecting it to navigate their business. Algorithms will never magically acquire unwritten human context. Your competitive advantage is no longer which model you subscribe to. It is your team's ability to act as the strategic director for the machine, translating your human judgment into rules the software can actually follow.